and you're very welcome to the latest episode of the South Tipp Arts Podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by artist Moran Been-noon, whose exhibition Here Nor There is currently on display here at the South Tipp Arts Centre. Here Nor There invites us to reflect on the connection between ethnicity and our own ability to belong. The artwork is a collection of the artist's digital and physical thought experiments that respond to familiar concepts of settling down and feeling at home, putting down roots, building a nest, and understanding one's place through the embodiment of objects and actions found in family stories, materials, and objects. These experiments of belonging are conducted in the context of life as an outsider, remaining unsettled, being neither here nor there. The exhibition contains a mix of moving image and audio pieces with objects that symbolise the fragments of the artist's ethnic identity. It encourages us to perceive ethnicity as a multi-layered and intricate theme, and within this to consider the complexities of contemporary Irish identity. As part of the exhibition, Moran is holding a series of art labs at STAC Chapel, which many of you may know is our newest venue, and it's on the plaza at Kicken Barracks. On Thursday the 16th, Friday 17th and Saturday 18th of November from 2:30 to 5, Moran will be set up at STAC Chapel with some research and art materials, and she will be there for you to come in and discuss, to make some artwork, share a skill or your own way of expressing your ethnic or perhaps national, religious or regional identity. There's no experience needed to take part in these workshops, and all the materials are provided, but you are welcome to bring along a special object, a photo or a tactile material to work with yourself. These workshops are free, no booking is required, and the chapel will be open from 2:30 to 5 on Thursday, Friday and Saturday for you to drop in. Moran Been-noon, you are so very welcome to South Tipp Arts Centre. Your exhibition Here Nor There is currently on display downstairs. It's all about your ethnic diversity in your family and your history and stuff, and about your sense of belonging or not belonging, as the case may be, in different places. Tell me a little bit about your heritage, first of all, so that people can get a sense of the diversity that's there.
I think in the end, it's not about me and my heritage.
Okay.
I mean, the things that are used in the exhibition, I use my own ethnicity sort of as a test case to do these thought exercises, because I don't feel like I can talk about other people's ethnicity. But while it's out there, it's not about me. Because sure, why would people necessarily care about my things?
Well, I think your personal experience maybe speaks to other people's personal experiences in that some of the experiments that you've done or carried out, your videos, your little animation pieces really can set off maybe, a light bulb in someone's head about maybe parts of their own story or threads that go through them. The thread is a very important part of the whole installation.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. Yeah.
I think you're right in that. Well, it's something that I was hoping for, is for people to sort of see these things that are sort of about me and have it bring something up in them, even in terms of questioning a thing that they've never thought about or that they haven't really paid attention to. Because I think something like ethnicity isn't necessarily like you go about your day, you eat your breakfast, you go to work. You don't sit there thinking, who am I today? Where do I belong in this greater scheme? But this is a little bit what we do, right? With cultural and with art.
Yeah.
Work is providing a place for people to kind of just pause for a minute and think about it. So I think that's, to me, something. I think the complexity that's within ethnicity and what can bring it and what can it mean. To me, I kind of found that as a possible answer to the question, why don't I ever belong? Why don't I completely feel like I belong anywhere? Where it seems to be something that's very easy for other people, ethnically speaking as well. Like, other people seem to be able to live in Ireland for 5 or 6 years and go like, get their citizenship and say like, I am Irish.
Yeah.
I am Irish.
Yeah.
Something else as well, but I am Irish. Whereas for me, even after getting the citizenship, and I live here for more than 15 years, I can never completely and fully comfortably go and say I'm Irish.
Did you move around a lot when you were a child? Like, no, you were always placed in... Yeah, that's unusual then, isn't it? I would say, like, if you were sort of maybe you're from 5 different places as opposed to...
It's I grew up in one place.
Yeah.
Like, definitely culturally.
Yeah.
A place that was, I guess, diverse enough, with enough politics around that diversity to it be something that people think about.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's not a symptom of that. But it's definitely a question that I asked. And I think the actual ethnicity was something that I thought was worth exploring as part of it. Because it's complicated. Because right now I'm trying to explain to you without going into a whole speech about the whole heritage and I can't. There's no sentence that I can say that will explain that complexity that I think maybe did kind of bring to me thinking that way.
I understand what you mean. One of the things that I love how you've divided it up into like earth, air, water. Was that just a way of sort of making sense of all the different experiments in your head or grouping them together? And
so this is the 3 videos.
Yeah, like the nests. Exactly. Yeah.
So those 3 videos were actually made in Iceland. I went on residency in Iceland as sort of a thought exercise, where this was after I got my Irish citizenship, and I went to embody an Irish exile.
Okay.
Someone who was exiled from Ireland and has longing to Ireland. I went for a month, which was, I figured, long enough to at least feel a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And so the research that I did, I used 2 primary sources who were writers, 2 poets from medieval times, a Jewish one and an Irish one, St. Columba. And I also researched a lot of folkloric and ethnic concept and how they're formed. And a lot of times they're formed externally, like so from a diaspora, they're formed through longing. Through someone who wants to go to that place, so they describe it. So I think a lot of how we think about places those thoughts are often created by people who, it's through memories. It's like it becomes like this generational knowledge or folkloric knowledge.
And those things are quite universal, aren't they? Like across all cultures, don't you?
I think a lot. I don't know if all, but
like
it's
a lot
definitely
of mythologies
repeating.
have a kind of a universal quality to them, where a lot of the stories are repeated just with different characters and different.
Yeah, And so the 3 videos, I at the end of the residency, we had this sort of something between an open studio and an exhibition. And so the work that I did. So what I discovered through like St. Columba and like the research that I did, that a lot of the perception of longing, the imagery that's described and used is actually about the process of leaving. So there were always descriptions of boats or like sculptures of boats or talking about the feet being weary and all of that. So I was like, okay. But I think this is still a good way to tell the story. How do I do this now? And a lot of my work already has to do with feet, and feet kind of really a strong symbol of a connection to a place.
Yeah. That's very interesting. The Very Rooty Ground video, I love that. And just that had never kind of dawned on me before, that, that the ground here could be kind of so different to the other grounds that you placed yourself in, like the sand, for instance, like how easy it is to work the sand, and then how difficult it was to even get the shovel into the ground here.
So that conversation in the video, so I never used, before this video, I never used that footage with sound before. So I've never listened to the sound of it before. So I wasn't aware that I was saying these things. That like, I can't get through. It's so rooty here. It's like, of course. Yeah. This was there all along. Of course. Difficult to belong in Ireland. Yeah, why? Here we go. It's not that. Yeah. Clearly, like, it's a very tongue-in-cheek way to look at it. But I just couldn't ignore it.
Like, it's a really good visualization of that feeling. Do you know, that's abstract, really abstract feeling.
You can't get through.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your use of the mobile devices, because that's really interesting. There's so much to look at in downstairs. There's so much to look at as you walk around, and a lot of them, some of them are quite different from each other, and they're really They're sort of short, sharp, little vignettes almost. Explain to me how that sort of came together, especially
slowly.
Yeah, I can imagine the collection in the drawers, the name of which escapes me. Folkloric mess drawer, is that the name of it? Yeah. There's so many devices in there with so many different things going on in them. It's a really, really interesting way to present.
I was just really trying to think. So one of the things that can be sort of an ethnic denominator, common denominator, is joint memories. And I was trying to think of how to depict memories in a way that could be almost across culture. And I think in contemporary Western culture, every household has that mess drawer that has the old devices that no longer work, the old cables that are probably broken, maybe a pair of glasses from 2 numbers ago, and, some family photos maybe, maybe, an old ring. In my household, there were always the things with the thread. Parts, they were always in there
components
as well.
From things that you've forgotten what it belongs to.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring that as sort of this container of memories. And because I
hadn't actually thought of that, but when you said it now,
I was surprised.
Every house has a drawer.
So in the opening, that was the thing people most talked to me about.
Yeah.
Because I guess everyone does have it.
Everyone has it, yeah. It's funny, that hadn't even dawned on me as a concept. I never thought and didn't tie it back to that at all. But when you said it now, it's 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so being someone who primarily works digitally, most of my practice has been as a moving image, a video artist, digital stuff. I use a lot of projection stuff. So I think and I research through digital, my initial material that I go to, the place where I'm comfortable experimenting with the most is digital. So most of the pieces in the drawers are basically research work. So this exhibition is about 3 years of work on this subject matter. And some of it was really there's a couple of them that they're photos of my grandparents that I sort of just stand in.
Yeah, I love those.
That was the first thing that I did. The video of me is from another project that I just kind of well, what would it look like? Would I belong in that photo?
Can I place myself in
do I belong there?
Yeah.
Do I belong, is it a time thing maybe? So those are, a lot of this is just a lot of thinking that gets expressed on image.
It's fascinating. It's totally fascinating. Tell me a little bit, just before I let you go, about the workshops that you're running in the chapel. I know you're working with groups in the morning, but for Friday and Saturday, the 17th and 18th, there's still open sessions from 2:30 to 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So people can drop into you.
They can, and I'd love that. So I basically have a studio set up in the really beautiful chapel space. I feel very spoiled to even get to sit there.
Yeah. And it looks great down there. It really looks like a busy little space, and loads to do.
And what's going on there is so I'm sitting there doing my work regardless.
Yeah.
And people are invited to come in and maybe bring. So the way that the exhibition was done, really to think about ethnic and folkloric expression. So how these aspects of our personality and identity are actually expressed through material or a memory or an object. That's why there's so many objects in the gallery. So it can be something small, it can be a photo, it can be a story, it can be something on your phone. And kind of see how we can talk about it and interpret it, and maybe there's materials there for making and crafting. So if people are into that, that's definitely something that can be done. Absolutely. It's been great fun with
and you've got
so much.
A stop motion table and everything.
Yeah, there's a light table, and I have we can do stop motion, digital stop motion as well. It's really people are very welcome to come and just play and talk. And there's some books with some background if you want to have a look as well.
Excellent. Moran, I'm going to let you go because I know you're really busy and you haven't even had your lunch. So thanks so much for sitting down with me today.
Thank you.
And that's it for another episode of the South Tipp Arts Podcast. My thanks to Moran for sitting down for a chat. Don't forget that Here Nor There continues at the main gallery at South Tipp Arts Centre until Saturday the 2nd of December. And if you'd like to take part in one of Moran's workshops, there's still time on Friday and Saturday afternoon, the 17th and 18th of November. Catch you all next time. Thanks for listening.